Hello, my name's Tony Evans. I'm from Camperdown Compost Company, and I'm here today to demonstrate to you how we use a program we developed a few years ago on comparing compost programs to a conventional fertiliser program. The idea is that we want to demonstrate that the nutrients in a compost program can equal or better a conventional program, both in cost and in nutrients applied. So basically what we do is we punch in the farmer's name and we put in the hectares that we want to fertilise, and then we ask the farmer, what would you have done last year? And obviously those considerations would be against his soil test. And on that I've put up a mock example where a farmer might put in 200 kilos of 2-in-1, and he may put out some urea, which might be over the year 200 kilos to the hectare. So we're working on hectares here, and I've put some prices in, and we can adjust those prices according to the pricing at the time that we're doing the program. So once we've done that, we've worked out the rate per hectare. We know what it costs per tonne. On another page we have what the analysis is that we can use for the formulas, and we can then demonstrate over here how much nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium is used in a program using 2-in-1 and also urea, and what the cost per hectare is and what the total budget is to do that 100 hectares. And once we've done that, we can then look at what the nutrient levels are per hectare, how many kilos of N, P and K have gone out per hectare, and then we can tailor make a compost program using different amendments to match or better those nutrients being applied. We can then compare the cost, and we can make sure that we stay within or below the budget that the farmer has to play with. So the idea is to demonstrate to the farmer that we can actually develop a program that protects the fertility of the soil, and we believe will improve the fertility of the soil. We're able to, through a program like this, add a lot more carbon into the farming system, which is a great catalyst for lifting biological activity. We're also very mindful of any soil test results, and if there's any lack of nutrients in any of the areas, we can add those to the compost to make sure that we manage any deficiencies. So the aim is to be able to demonstrate to the farmer that he has not only managed the nutrients that he needs to manage on his farm, but he's not going to be mining the soil, and he's not going to run out of nutrients over a period of time. And we'd like to think that by adding extra carbon into the system and lifting the biological activity, he will actually start to release more nutrients that are already there but tied up in the soil. So in this example, what I've done is I've put in 200 kilos to the hectare of 2-in-1 and 2 applications of urea at 100 kilos to the hectare. And in the comparison with the fertiliser program, I've added compost at $40 a tonne at 1,000 kilos to the hectare, and I've used a chook manure, which is 1,000 kilos to the hectare at $30 a tonne. These prices are without freight. All prices are without freight, so we have to be mindful of that. I've then put in a couple of applications of urea of 70 kilos to the hectare, which is a total of 140 kilos to the hectare. And then I've come across to this side where we compare the level of nutrients to the hectare. So in the compost program, we're looking at 100 kilos of N going in compared to 92 in the conventional, so very, very comparable. We've actually got more phosphorus going on in the compost program with 33 kilos to the hectare compared to 11. And potassium, we're a little bit higher in the compost program, but not much. Sulphur in the conventional program is marginally higher, 2 kilos to the hectare higher. And calcium is about the same, about 25 kilos to the hectare. The big advantage here is that we've actually got 430 kilograms of carbon being applied at the same time, and that's a big plus. Cost-wise, we're looking in the conventional program at $212 a hectare compared to the compost program of $151 a hectare, bearing in mind that the freight and spreading costs will be a little bit higher in the compost program to the conventional. So I would estimate we're still within budget with the compost program. we've met all the requirements that the farmers asked for in that particular scenario, and we've been able to add over 400 kilos of carbon. The other thing that is a variable that we look at is in particular in phosphorus, where in the first year in the compost program you get to use about 50% of the phosphorus in the compost. In a conventional program, depending on a few variables, it's somewhere between 10 and 25% of the phosphorus is used in the first 30 or 40 days. So basing it on 25% of the phosphorus, in that conventional program you're using around about 3 kilos to the hectare of P. Compared to the compost program, we've got about 16.5 kilos to the hectare. So there's a big difference in the amount of phosphorus available to the plant that year. There is a residual, and both will have residuals. In the compost, you'd expect to pick it up another 30%, plus your second year's application. So you've got use of about 80% of the amount that's applied that can be used. So you're actually putting on quite a lot of available nutrients that the plant can use that year. Whereas in a conventional program, you do get some available nutrients at the start, but you're actually building capital and you're lifting soil fertility, but not necessarily availability. So this program was developed for this reason. We were often asked questions around how can we manage and make sure that we've got enough nutrients to grow grass or crops, and we're not mining the soil, and what does it cost? We can do variations of this, obviously. So what we can do is we can say, let's put in a bit of single super. We want a bit more phosphorus and a bit more sulphur. So we put in 100 kilos of single super to add to that. What happens is we know what the price is. In this case, we've got it set at $300 a tonne. And then flowing back through here, it'll lift the phosphorus and it'll lift the sulphur levels in the rates being applied. And then we can adjust the other program. We can put in some gypsum. And the idea of gypsum is that it's a cheaper source of sulphur on the market. So we might go in 150 kilos. We know it's about $60 a tonne with freight, and that will vary obviously depending when the farm is and the gypsum supplies are. And we can demonstrate that we've lifted the sulphur significantly on that program. We're still really good for phosphorus in the compost program. No need to add anything else that can lift the phosphorus. So by doing that, we can play with the figures, and we can make sure we stay within budget, and we can make sure that we can manage the different nutrients required according to the soil test. So we have this tool available at Camperdown Compost. We're more than happy for farmers to give us a call. We're happy to sit down, show how it works, play with some numbers to make sure that we can develop a program that meets budget and meets the soil fertility's expectations. We're also happy for farmers to send through soil tests, and we can give an appraisal and send back an email with some recommendations if that suits farmers. This is a service we're offering, and we're happy to help.